When you're over 60, there's a truth most people don't want to hear, but it can actually set you free. Your body can be aging faster than your calendar age, and you may not notice until it shows up as fatigue, weaker legs, slower recovery, or that nagging feeling that your spark is fading. Here's what I mean. Two people can both be 68. One is traveling, walking confidently, thinking clearly, and still feels like life is expanding. The other feels inflamed, tired and fragile, as if their world is shrinking. That difference isn't luck. A big part of it is biological aging, which is the condition of your cells, your energy systems, your immune system, and how well your body repairs itself. Hi everyone, Doctor here. Today I'm speaking directly to my viewers in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Especially if you're thinking, I'm not trying to live forever. I just want to feel like myself and stay independent. That is the right goal, not just lifespan, but health span. Before we go any further, a quick safety note in plain English. This video is for educational purposes only and does not replace medical advice. If you have medical conditions, take prescription medications, have kidney disease, heart disease, diabetes, or you plan to change your diet, fasting routine, exercise program, or supplements, please talk to your clinician first. Now, let's talk about the part people get wrong. Aging is not only something that happens to you. A lot of aging is something that happens inside you, and your daily choices send signals to your cells that either push them into repair mode or keep them stuck in wear and tear mode. One of the most important repair signals in the body is a pathway called AMPK. I know that sounds technical, but the idea is simple. Think of AMPK like your cellular fuel gauge and your maintenance switch. When AMPK turns on, your cells get the message to slow down unnecessary growth, conserve energy, clean up damage, and run more efficiently. It's like your body stops speeding and pulls into the shop for maintenance. This matters a lot after 60, because as we age, we naturally drift toward more inflammation, less cellular energy, and slower repair. So if you want to age better, your job is to keep giving your body consistent signals that say, repair, restore, and stay resilient. Here's the uncomfortable truth for the United States. In the most recent national survey data, only about 13.9% of adults age 65 and older met the federal physical activity guidelines for both aerobic activity and muscle strengthening. Think about that. It means most older Americans are not doing the two kinds of movement that protect them the most. It doesn't mean they don't care. It means the system has made it easy to sit, and sitting quietly accelerates aging. So let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. I had a patient, 71 years old, and he told me, "Doc, I used to be the guy who carried everything. Now I'm the guy who takes breaks." He wasn't overweight. He wasn't lazy. He was simply drifting into the normal aging pattern that happens when the repair signals get quieter. We didn't give him a crazy routine. We didn't turn him into an athlete. We built a simple pattern that he could actually keep. And that pattern is what I want to give you today, because it's not about motivation. It's about signaling. Now, I'm going to start with a surprise, because it gets attention and it's practical. Your morning coffee can be a biological signal. Caffeine has been shown in lab and human research to interact with energy-sensing pathways linked to cellular maintenance, including AMPK, and that matters because AMPK is a repair mode switch. But here's the catch that most Americans don't want to hear. Coffee is not the issue. What you turn coffee into is the issue. If your coffee is basically a liquid dessert with sugar, syrup, flavored creamers, and whipped toppings, you are not drinking a repair signal. You're drinking a blood sugar drama. I once had a 66-year-old patient tell me, "I don't eat sweets. I'm pretty disciplined." Then we looked at what he drank. His morning coffee had more added sugar than a lot of sodas. He wasn't trying to sabotage himself, he just didn't realize it counted. So if you want coffee to be a useful longevity habit, after 60, keep it clean. Black coffee is the simplest version. If you truly cannot do black coffee, keep additions minimal and avoid sweeteners. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is not turning a potentially helpful habit into a metabolic stressor. Now here's where the real power comes in. Pair coffee with walking. Not someday, not when you feel like it. Just a short, consistent walk. Even 15 to 20 minutes, done most days, tells your muscles, your circulation, and your mitochondria that you still need them. And if you're thinking, walking feels too basic, let me reassure you. Basic is not weak. Basic is reliable. The body responds to signals that are repeated. Here's the second truth that hits hard after 60. Your muscle is not cosmetic. Your muscle is a survival organ. It helps regulate blood sugar, protects your joints, supports your balance, and keeps you independent. The scary part is that muscle decline isn't only about size. It's about strength and cellular energy. Research reviews commonly cite that after age 30, adults lose about 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade, and the loss accelerates later in life. That means that by the time many people feel old, the process has been quietly happening for years. This is why I talk to my older patients about independence, not vanity. Because the real fear isn't a number on a scale. The real fear is needing help to stand up, needing help to climb stairs, or being afraid of falling. Now, I want to be careful here, because some people hear exercise and they panic. They picture heavy weights, intense classes, or joints that can't handle it. That is not what I'm saying. After 60, the smartest approach is gentle consistency plus a small dose of strength work that is safe for your body. If you're able, adding strength work 2 or 3 times per week is one of the strongest anti-aging signals we know. It can be bodyweight movements, resistance bands, light dumbbells, or supervised training. The point is simply to remind your body that you still need strength. Now let's switch to a topic that is quietly massive in the United States, especially in older adults, and that's vitamin D. Many Americans are low, and it's more common than people think because we spend more time indoors, we wear more clothing, we use sunscreen, we live at latitudes where winter sun is weak, and as we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D. Large U.S. analyses show vitamin D deficiency and insufficiency remain widespread overall, and many researchers still describe it as a persistent public health issue, even though patterns have changed over time. Why do we care, especially after 60? Vitamin D is involved in immune function, inflammation regulation, and muscle function, and researchers have also studied its association with telomere health. Telomeres are like the protective tips at the ends of your DNA, similar to the plastic ends of a shoelace. When telomeres shorten, cells become more vulnerable to damage over time. Now, I want to say something important so nobody misunderstands me. Vitamin D is not magic. It is not a cure. And more is not always better. Taking too much can be harmful. The smartest and safest way is testing first, then dosing appropriately with a clinician. That's how you keep this useful and safe. Still, If your vitamin D is low and you correct it safely, you're removing one common friction point that can affect muscles, mood, immune resilience, and overall health. And when you're over 60, removing friction points is a big deal. Let me tell you a small kitchen story that older adults love because it feels doable. Mushrooms can contain vitamin D, and there's a simple hack that some people use. Exposing sliced mushrooms to sunlight before cooking can increase their vitamin D content. It's not a miracle, but it's a clever example of how small habits can support the biology you want. Now let's talk about the third pathway in plain language, because this one sounds futuristic, but it's very real. Epigenetic aging is like the software layer on top of your genes. Your genes are the hardware. Epigenetics is the set of switches that tells your body which genes to turn up and which genes to quiet down. When your lifestyle is chaotic, your sleep is poor, your diet is ultra-processed, and stress is constant, those switches can drift toward inflammation and dysfunction. When your lifestyle is supportive, the switches can drift toward resilience. There was a small randomized controlled trial in healthy men ages 50 to 72 that used an 8-week diet and lifestyle program and measured biological aging using an epigenetic clock. The intervention was associated with a 3.23-year decrease in epigenetic age compared with controls, and within the treatment group, the average decrease from baseline was about 1.96 years. Now here's the detail most people don't tell you, and I like it because it keeps expectations realistic. Not everyone had a dramatic change. In the final analysis of the treatment group, 8 out of 18 participants showed an age reduction, 9 were essentially unchanged, and 1 increased. That means roughly 44% improved on that measure over 8 weeks. About half stayed flat, and a small minority moved the wrong direction. So what's a fair estimate for your audience when you talk about how many people might get better? If you're speaking about epigenetic markers specifically, a reasonable way to frame it is this. In a small controlled study, around 4 in 10 showed improvement in epigenetic age over 8 weeks. Many stayed the same, and results varied. That is honest, it's grounded, and it avoids the dangerous promise that everyone will reverse aging. Now, what did that program look like in real life? It wasn't one magic supplement. It was a lifestyle pattern. It included sleep guidance, movement, relaxation, and a diet rich in methylation supportive nutrients and phytonutrients. And one consistent theme in longevity research is that plant compounds called polyphenols show up again and again. Polyphenols are found in colorful, flavorful plant foods. Think berries, green tea, turmeric, garlic, rosemary, and many fruits and vegetables. These are not trendy superfoods. They are common foods that carry protective signals. This is where I like to bring in a cultural story, because it helps people remember. Throughout history, long-lived traditional diets didn't rely on one miracle item. They relied on patterns. People consumed bitter greens, herbs, spices, legumes, and teas. They moved daily. They slept more in sync with daylight. And they ate less ultra-processed food because it didn't exist. Modern America is the opposite. We have constant snacking, constant screens, poor sleep, and engineered foods designed to be irresistible. So if you're over 60, you don't need a complicated plan. You need a plan that fights the modern environment. Let me share another patient-style story, because this is how it looks emotionally. A woman in her early 70s once said to me, "I'm not afraid of aging. I'm afraid of losing my freedom." That sentence is the whole point. If you can keep your strength, your balance, your energy, and your mental clarity, you can keep your freedom. So here's how I'd put it together for someone watching in America, over 60, who wants a simple starting point. You wake up, you hydrate, you have coffee in the cleanest way you can tolerate, and you move your body the same day. Later, you eat real food with color and fiber. You get some daylight exposure safely, and you take sleep seriously, because sleep is when a lot of repair happens. And you do not try to do everything at once. That is where people fail. They try to become perfect on Monday, and they quit by Thursday. I would rather you do a small set of habits for 8 weeks than do a huge set of habits for 8 days. Now let me give you a shock line that's true and gets attention. The average older adult is not losing health because of one big event. They're losing health because of small daily signals that quietly tell the body to decline. If you change the signals, you change the trajectory. Do I think you can control everything? No. Genetics, illness, accidents, life stress, and aging itself are real. But do I think you can control enough to feel a real difference? Absolutely, especially in energy, strength, mobility, and how fast you recover. So if you're watching and you're over 60, here's what I want you to remember. Aging is inevitable. Decline is not guaranteed at the same speed. Your biology is listening to you every day. If this helped, share it with someone you care about, especially a friend who keeps saying, "It's just old age." Sometimes they don't need motivation. They need a new story about what's possible. And if you want, in my next video, I'll show you a simple 8-week reset routine that matches the science, stays safe, and actually feels doable in real American life.